Do you have doubts about the Christian faith? And if so, what should you do about it? Maybe just ignore it or pray it away. Or maybe these doubts are strong enough that you're considering walking away from Christianity altogether. Or maybe you're considering Christianity for the first time, but still have many doubts about the claims and doctrines of the faith. No matter where you fall in this spectrum, I can promise you that I understand the process of doubt. I did not grow up in the Christian faith personally, so my journey lacks a certain foundation of tradition that for many Christians carries them through tough seasons of doubt or spiritual waning. And, I actually want to touch on this idea later in the video, so we'll come back to that. But for now, I want to talk about one thing: the modern world, which can be a tough place for Christians dealing with doubt. Skepticism, materialism, and empiricism seem to have become the default positions of the day. And I think even believing Christians can find themselves operating from these positions without knowing it. So what do they stand for? In short, these points of view assert that the physical world is all there is. Physical evidence is of the highest value, and any belief that does not result from these two principles should be rejected. Now, while according to a Gallup poll in May 2022, 81% of Americans still believe God exists. That's pretty high, even though this number is down from 87% in 2017. So while atheists and agnostics are by far the minority, these positions have continued to gain momentum in the West since the Enlightenment. Philosophers have long offered different options for non-theists, but outside of a traditional metaphysical belief in a creator, intelligent designer, or mind at the center of existence, skepticism, materialism, and empiricism have been the primary alternative positions. While theism is still the majority view for Americans, the modern world can still be a tough place for Christians, however. There's been a growing trend of deconversion and deconstruction over the last several years. In fact, since 2007, the percentage of Americans that identify as Christian has trended down from 78% to 63% in 2021, with the number of people claiming non-religious affiliation almost tripling in that time frame. So what should a Christian do when they are facing seasons of doubt? It has been my experience that if you're willing to press into the discomfort and seek real answers to tough questions, it will only serve to grow your faith. Look, just like in exercise, resistance increases strength. So the next time you see an atheist, tell them thank you. Look, you don't have to be afraid of what lies beneath your belief. Digging into the most challenging atheist and skeptical points of view only serves to affirm your faith. When you face those tough questions and uncover the real answers lying at the center of your belief, you have found something far more precious than what you had before you began to dig. Now, I will say this: in order to face your doubt, you must be honest with yourself. You need to be honest about why you are doubting. Is it truly because of a philosophical or theological issue like the problem of evil, or violence in the Old Testament, or even the doctrine of hell? Or is it because of something else? Are you doubting because you don't want to believe anymore? Is it too hard? Or do you just find yourself no longer agreeing with Christian teaching? I ask because if you don't truly want Christian teaching to be true, then you can certainly find reasons for it to be false. As humans, we are fantastic at justifying our beliefs and actions in order to suit our desires. But what Christianity offers and what lies beneath all the superficial understanding of Christian doctrine and philosophy is something far more intricate and far more complex. Look, Christianity is simple. It's simple on purpose. Anyone can believe by faith alone. But when you listen to skeptics and you truly face the challenges they present and then run them to their conclusions with an honest pursuit and a steadfast belief that God has and is moving in this world, as mysterious as it is, you will find a deeper and more meaningful faith in the process. Because what lies at the core of the Christian faith is not some trivial conspiracy. It's not a myth that became legend. It's not the result of cognitive dissonance or hallucinations. It's not a veiled attempt to use morality as a means to control and maintain patriarchal power. And it is certainly not a force for evil in the world. No, it's something far deeper. Its power lies in real historical events, deep philosophical truths, and theological implications. And once you see the entire picture, you can't go back. So this is my challenge. Take the red pill and commit to the journey. Now, I want to talk about tradition for a moment. I must say that I envy Christians who were brought up in a religious tradition. There can be a comfort returning to a familiar place, behavior, or tradition, and there's nothing wrong with that. Early in my faith, I was a critic of traditional denominations, but more recently I began to see the power that lies in tradition and ritual. There is in fact something deeply sacred that takes place when we tie our beliefs to symbolic acts and behaviors. We all do it, whether it's part of a faith practice or not. Birthdays, graduations, anniversaries, for example, are all symbolic acts that create meaning in our lives and connect events to emotions through community. These symbolic acts anchor the non-physical to the physical, which for most of us is required for faith in anything. I firmly believe that things like baptism and communion are, in particular, gifts from God to anchor our faith in the physical world. But whatever your denominational traditions might be, just know that they are valuable and they do serve a purpose. Now, if you're a person that finds your faith in empiricism and materialism, and I say faith because if you believe that science can eventually answer all our questions, then you are practicing faith, by the way. Well, if that's you, and if your presuppositions begin with the assertion that dead men don't rise, then I can't do much to help you right now. In order to embrace the vastness of historical and philosophical and really anthropological material that surrounds Judaism and the Christian Revolution, you need to believe in something bigger than yourself, bigger than what you can see and experience. Now, I don't think you have to throw out logic as some may assert, but to believe in the God of the Bible and to ultimately believe in Jesus as God's plan of redemption for humanity. You have to admit that your physical experiences can't explain everything. You have to admit that your perception of the world is limited. And much like Plato, you have to wake up to the fact that the world we experience is but a shadow of a greater reality. And so I'll close with the words of the Apostle Paul. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Hey, you made it to the end of the video, and we're really proud of you. And now that you're here, take some time and click like and subscribe. And then go over to thelandinthebible.com if you want to help us to create more content, because your support there goes a long way.